SpaceX, which is led by Elon Musk, has been given permission to use its Starlink satellite internet service with moving vehicles, which includes recreational vehicles, trucks, boats, and aeroplanes. The multinational aerospace corporation submitted an application to the Federal Communications Commission in March of 2021 for permission to use ground-based terminals known as Earth stations in motion. These terminals are intended to communicate with the company's satellite constellation that is located in low Earth orbit. Would you like to know more about it? Then stay tuned. Welcome to Techmo. In this video, we will discuss the most recent information regarding the FCC's approval of SpaceX's plan to connect Starlink satellites to moving vehicles. But before we make it to the video, make sure you subscribe to our channel for more premium content and hit the notification bell to be the first to watch our videos. After getting FCC approval on Thursday, SpaceX's satellite internet service Starlink can now be used in a moving car. This is great news for the thousands of people who want to stay connected while on the road. With the portability feature, which was introduced in May, people can take their Starlink internet with them wherever they go. Before Thursday's announcement, though, the warranty would have been void if it was used in a moving vehicle. Both SpaceX and the Canadian company Kepler Communications, which makes satellites, got approval from the FCC. The Federal Communications Commission has granted permission to the aerospace company SpaceX to provide Starlink satellite internet service on moving automobiles, recreational vehicles, trucks, boats, and planes. This means that you can install the Starlink on your moving vehicle and you will have access to the internet at speeds of up to 100 megabytes per second. And all of this can be done while traveling thanks to the Starlink, which not only utilizes lasers to transfer data with high-speed internet and low latency, but it is also designed to provide high-speed internet access wherever it is needed in the world. It is a network of satellites that are in low Earth orbit and is operated by SpaceX. And approximately 2,700 satellites have been launched in order to support the entire worldwide network. And SpaceX plans to launch approximately 42,000 Starlink satellites in total after years of development of the Starlink within SpaceX itself. And in 2021, Starlink picked up the pace after securing nearly $885 million in grant funds for the development of the satellite from the Federal Communications Commission at the end of 2020. This allowed Starlink to speed up the development process, and after a string of successful launches spanning 3 years, the project surpassed 2,700 satellites placed into orbit so far. Starlink claims that it now provides service in 32 countries around the world, and that it has more than 2,500 operational satellites orbiting in space. Despite the fact that SpaceX is still dealing with a backlog of prospective customers who are waiting to receive their Starlink equipment and begin making use of the internet service. According to a report that followed the approval of Starlink by the FCC, that list of countries includes Ukraine, where Elon Musk was quoted as saying in February that additional satellite internet terminals were en route because of the Russian invasion, a move that cost US taxpayers $3 million. Musk's statement came after the FCC gave its blessing to Starlink. FCC's International Bureau Chief Tom Sullivan wrote in the authorization posted on Thursday that authorizing a new class of terminals for SpaceX's satellite system will expand the range of broadband capabilities to meet the growing user demands that now require connectivity while on the move, whether driving an RV across the country, moving a fader from Europe to a US port, or while on a domestic or international flight. The FCC did place some restrictions on the system. The Commission also stated that additional investment in Starlink will assume the risk that operations may be subject to new limitations or requirements from the FCC prior to the approval. SpaceX is required to accept any interference received from authorized services, including current and future services. It had agreements with Hawaiian Airlines and semi-private charter operator JSX to provide Wi-Fi on planes. Given that the aviation Wi-Fi industry is currently ready for an upgrade, SpaceX had struck early agreements with commercial airlines to provide Wi-Fi on planes. The clearance will undoubtedly put an end to Dish Network's request that the FCC take action against Starlink subscribers who are already utilizing the service in moving vehicles. This is due to the fact that Dish Network wrote a letter to the FCC earlier on to deactivate current Starlink customers who use the service on moving boats and cars. SpaceX has only been granted permission to carry out a limited number of onboard tests. It is obvious that there is no proof that the claim made by Dish, which is that using Starlink while traveling will cause interference with its satellite TV system, is true. A portion of the letter included the quote, "The Commission should make clear to SpaceX that continued unauthorized mobile use of Starlink terminals will not be tolerated." In response, SpaceX wrote a follow-up letter to the FCC in which it stated, in the quote, "Dish has made it clear that it will continue these time-wasting antics, so long as the Commission fails to close the 12 GHz proceeding or to grant SpaceX's applications to provide high throughput and low-latency broadband service to Americans." Also, earlier this week, at the Starbase Boca Chica facility, SpaceX's massive Super Heavy booster stage was moved to the launch pad in preparation for a potential static fire test. At least, that's what all of us SpaceX fans were hoping for regardless. The booster did some venting for a few minutes, which is something that we haven't seen in a long time. We don't really know if it was a successful vent yet, but judging by the way things are going, maybe it's a great success. There is a lot of excitement at SpaceX about the possibility of launching a fully stacked Starship rocket for a combat test as soon as the month of July hits. Before any test flight can be carried out, however, SpaceX will need to obtain a launch license from the FAA. There are still a number of regulatory hurdles that need to be overcome in order to perfect the production process and ensure that the first orbital test flight will be successful. The massive first stage booster of a Starship is called a Super Heavy, and the upper stage spacecraft, which is called the Starship and stands 165 feet tall, is what makes up a Starship. The vehicle that will transport people and cargo to the Moon, Mars, and other destinations throughout the solar system is currently under development by SpaceX. A small number of high-altitude test flights have been carried out by SpaceX using prototypes of the Starship upper stages launched from Starbase, its South Texas site near the village of Boca Chica, and it is getting ready for the transportation system's first orbital test flight, which Elon Musk now says could happen soon. A significant portion of this preparation work involves the construction and testing of Raptors, which are the next generation of engines that will power Starships. Each Super Heavy booster will have 33 Raptor engines, while each Starship spacecraft will only have 6 of them if everything goes according to plan. With Starship's test campaign, the rocket could go very far afield in the next couple of years, and for future missions, NASA picked SpaceX to build the first crewed lunar lander for its Artemis program, which aims to put humans on the Moon in 2025 or 2026. And Musk has expressed optimism that Starship could start launching humans to Mars, despite the fact that he has a propensity to set extremely ambitious goals for his businesses. As we're all aware, it is Elon Musk's time. Hopefully, everything goes according to plan. Starlink can be used only on the same continent as your service address. If you want to take it with you on a boat or to another continent, you will have to change your register address. On its FAQ page, Starlink says that its service is provided on a best effort basis and that speeds are not guaranteed. It also says that users who move can expect lower service levels than those who stay put. When you move your Starlink to a new place, this prioritization may cause your service to be worse, especially during peak usage or when the network is busy, Starlink says. But Elon Musk's Starlink satellite internet showed a big speed increase in the first quarter of this year. The median download speed in the US went from 65 megabytes per second to 90 megabytes per second, an increase of 38%. So things are at least looking up. Also, if you want to add portability to your Starlink account, you will have to pay an extra $25 per month. Is this worth it? So that's all for today's video. If you like this video, give it a thumbs up, and if you want to watch more videos like this one, then hit the subscribe button and turn on the notifications so that you will always be notified.